Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scout Selections here for Wednesday, September 4th. Before we get into today's play of the day, we'll quickly recap what happened yesterday. Unfortunately, the Dodgers giveth and the Dodgers taketh away, as we ended up winning on the team total on Monday, but then proceeded to lose the over 10 yesterday against the Rockies. Overall, even though we lost, the game totaled 8 runs in the end. I still don't think it was a bad play. I still like the play, to be honest. The fact that Chichi Gonzalez ended up pitching arguably the best game of his career since 2015 against a team that scored 16 runs was definitely not something that anyone anticipated. And the Dodgers still scored 5 runs in the end, or 6 runs in the end, I should say, as they was it was 5 runs in the end. I should say, after the bullpen with Andrew Shaw, or Brian Shaw, I should say, imploded. How's it going, Terry? Thanks for joining us. But overall, it's a shame we ended up picking up that loss. Dodgers scored no runs in the first 6 innings, which is definitely something that nobody anticipated. And overall, it is what it is. But that's the nature of baseball. Sometimes you're able to win by the second inning. Other times, a team with 16 runs the day before gets shut out through 6 by a pitcher with an 8+ ERA. So, that happens sometimes. But either or, we'll look to bounce back and pick up a winner on Wednesday. However, I decided that in general, baseball, it's been somewhat profitable to us recently, but I'm decided to take a little bit of a break from that sport, at least for today, just as a breather. I thought about giving out the Cardinals and the Giants under 8.5, but I decided against it as Waka's numbers aren't that great against the Giants, and Bumgarner's numbers aren't that great against the Cardinals. But overall, I would lean to the under, but I'm personally not going to touch it. So instead of giving out another lean day, which I know most of you hate, I decided to give out a play in advance that I've personally already bet, and that will be on a college football matchup on Saturday. I know some of you might not want to wait till Saturday to actually see this game in action, but at the same point, I think there is a lot of value on it, and I definitely would get in before the line movement continues to take this game further along. So with that being said, we're actually going to dive right into this one. And the matchup we like is going to be between the Syracuse Orange and the Maryland Terrapins, which should be taking place on Saturday, September 7th at noon. And right now, the Maryland Terrapins are actually favorites by roughly 2 points. They opened up a 2.5-point dogs. They're currently up to a 2-point favorite, which means that you've had a 4.5-point swing on Maryland, which is definitely something worth noting. Syracuse is the 21st ranked team in the country. Maryland is unranked, and yet Maryland is the favorites. There's a stat that I found out on Twitter, which states that since 2015, there have been 23 times in the regular season where a team ranked 20th or lower entered a game versus a non-ranked team as a dog, and the ranked teams are 4-19 straight up in that span. Last year, that specific occurrence happened 6 times, and the ranked teams went 1-5 straight up. So that definitely supports Maryland. Syracuse, if you have watched them play, they played one game against Liberty, which people know is the Hugh Freeze hospital bed game, as he ended up coaching Liberty while in a hospital bed in the coaching box. Syracuse's quarterback was awful in week 1 with Tommy DeVito. Syracuse last year was great under Dungy, but Dungy is now gone. DeVito against the Liberty, which is an FCS school, went 17 of 35 for 176 passing yards, 0 touchdowns and no picks. So I definitely don't exactly love DeVito in this matchup. Syracuse's offense is pretty much Mo Neal, who's the running back, who had 14 carries for 89 yards and a touchdown. And he also had 3 receptions for 54 yards. He's pretty much Syracuse's entire offense. Now, I know Syracuse had 8 sacks in week 1, but that was against Liberty's poorest offensive line. So I'm a little bit skeptical of this team's success. And I think that Syracuse is only ranked because of their success last year. Maryland, on the other hand, had a very different experience in week 1. They also played an FCS opponent in Howard, but they ended up winning 79-0. And I know that they played Howard, and Howard's terrible, but Josh Jackson, the transfer from Virginia Tech, looked fantastic in his first start with the program, as he went 15 for 24 with 4 touchdowns and no picks. At the same point, Maryland also ran for 317 yards and 5 touchdowns, and Maryland's defense had 8 sacks as well as 1 safety and a punt return touchdown. Now, I know that that level of success won't be the same based on the fact that they're playing a ranked team instead of Howard, but the fact that money's poured in on Maryland already, the fact that Syracuse's quarterback is definitely the inferior quarterback in this matchup, and the fact that both defenses have been very solid so far against inferior opponents makes me believe this will be a relatively lower scoring game, But at the same point, I definitely think that Josh Jackson's dual threat ability with his ability to elongate plays with his legs will definitely help Maryland, and I think that Maryland should be able to get this win at home. So you could take the spread at -2, but at the same point, the money line is pretty much at -130 market wide. However, it is still available at -121 on Pinnacle, and that will be the line that we are using. So the play of the day on Wednesday, September 4th, will be on the Maryland Terrapins on the money line at -121 at Pinnacle. The reason why I'm giving this out now instead of later is because I think this line will climb up to roughly 3 by kickoff, as Syracuse continues to get bet against after that abysmal showing in week 1. I think DeVito is a mess. I think that Jackson's very solid. I think Maryland has a very solid run game, as they had 2 separate rushers of 79 yards, and as a team, they ran for 317 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I definitely think this team is well balanced, and I think they should be able to keep Syracuse off guard, and that is why I like that play. Now, in terms of the leans, also a quick mention here. If anyone is upset at the fact that I gave out a play of the day that's going to be on Saturday instead of something on today's card, let me know in the comment section, and I will consider scrapping this idea from the future. But instead of forcing a play on today's card, I decided that I would give out a play anyway, instead of my usual leans, and that I would simply give you a look-ahead line to a game on Saturday and why I like betting it now as opposed to later. So if you are not a fan of that idea, just let me know in the comment section. I'll consider scrapping that and only focus on plays that are occurring the day in question. But either or, quick leans for the MLB card. I already mentioned I'll lean to the under 8.5 in the Giants-Cardinals game. Giants offense has been absolutely terrible. They've fallen apart. The Cardinals have actually won 14 of their last 16 home games, so they have been on a heater. But at the same point, Waka has not been a great pitcher. He's been better lately. But at the same point, I definitely think that the Giants offense has been so just abysmal that I don't think it will matter. Bumgarner's numbers against the Cardinals aren't great either, but at the same point, Bumgarner to 3.16 in the month of August. So I definitely think that he should pitch well in this one. Giants still can't hit. I think this game will end somewhere in the realm of 5-2, give or take, and I think that it will go under the 8.5. Other than that, looking at the rest of the betting card, I would lean to I'm looking at the Pirates, but I definitely think that's a little bit too much juice at -170. Lean to the I'll lean to the over 9.5 here between the Angels and the A's here. Sandoval's been averaged, I guess, so far in his young MLB career. He started out really well. He struggled a little bit lately. Rourke has had mixed results, but at the same point, Oakland and the Los Angeles Angels have had decent success so far in this series in terms of their offense, and I definitely think that in the Coliseum, I think they will be looking to put up a decent amount of runs. Both teams combined for 12 runs in the series opener. I think this total's a little bit low. I think Rourke's a little bit overvalued here, and I think that Sandoval will continue struggling on the road against an Oakland team that tends to perform really well offensively at home. So I'll lean to the over 9.5 there. And other than that, gotta lean again to the over with the Dodgers and the Rockies. General rule of thumb, the bet that I made yesterday tends to the bet that I make that loses the day before usually always wins the day after. Most of a joke, but at the same point, Ryu struggled lately. Senzatella, we faded against the Cardinals about a week and a half ago, as some of you might remember. Not a big fan of Senzatella. I think that the Dodgers, after waking up in the latter half of the game yesterday, will score at least 7 runs in this game. Ryu's been a little bit hit or miss, but the Rockies' offense hasn't been terrible lately. So I'll lean to the over 9.5. It's already been bet up from 9 to 9.5. I think that makes sense. Lean to the over on that one. Okay, Andrew, I'll keep that in mind, but if anyone else has any thoughts about that, let me know. Other than that, though, quick reminder of our sponsor, PointsBet, online sportsbook in New Jersey. A couple of great deals for you. Up to 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000. So if you end up betting on any sports and end up losing, you simply get your money back. Other announcement, by the way, this weekend I will be going away to the Parks Casino. So I will be there for the UFC card and the college football and even the NFL. If you're in the area and you want to meet up with me, more than welcome to. I'll be in the casino. But at the same point, if any of you have any questions or just want to reach out to me while I'll be betting, I will be betting a lot in person, and hopefully we'll be able to cash some very nice tickets together. But the play of the day for Wednesday will be on the Maryland Terrapins on the money line against the Syracuse Orange at -121 at Pinnacle, and that game will be on Saturday. Other than that, though, that's going to do for this installment of Scott's Selections here for Wednesday, September 4th, and good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.